Raquel.
Hey y'all, Mika Me.
Hey, I'm Jasmine.
Hey y'all, this is Candice.
Hey, I'm Treyana.
Hey, I'm Bridget Marie, and this is season 3. Today's topic is still standing.
When I think about still standing, I often think of Antoine Fisher. I don't know why. When he be like, I'm still standing, I'm still strong. But for this one, I did want to come with a scripture. And it's coming from Genesis 50:19, and it says, "But Joseph replied, 'Don't be afraid of me. I am God, I am not God that I can punish you. You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. He brought me to this position so I could save the lives of many people.'" And when I think about my life, I think about how I'm not even supposed to be sitting here right now, period, from birth. Just different complications and issues. But God saw fit that I would be brought into this world. And then even when I was brought into this world, it was just so much different, like near-death experiences as a child. Asthma attacks, older I got, just different things, you feel me? And so I know that I have a purpose. And I found my purpose early because I remember as a child, like just praying. You know how they always say like, if you die at a certain age, you go straight to heaven. Mm-hmm. So I used to be like, Lord, I know I'm gonna be a holy terror. Like just take me out when I'm little. And you know, that's something you don't say when you little.
Right.
But I found this lady at my church and she used to pray over me and like really she was like, you know, God has prophesied over you that you have a calling and you have a light and you have this and you have that. And it was a couple of ladies, and then when we would visit different churches, like literally they come up to me and be like, God has a purpose for your life. So then I found that. So I started to learn how to pray. I started to learn how to intercede. I started to learn how to really allow God to use me. And then my life just changed. Mm-hmm. But it's been so many demonic attacks on my life that are just insane. I mean, like, I remember in high school I had pneumonia. And right after that, I had tonsillitis. So let's just say I had them together. So we're in the emergency room, and I'm falling asleep. And I fell asleep in the restroom, and literally like was unconscious. I thought I was asleep, but I was not. So my mom gets us to the back, because now my mom is sleeping and hollering. And if you don't know my mom is G. Like, you don't get her in this hospital bed. So I finally get in there, and the lady checks my oxygen, and she's like, literally, like she didn't. I was at the lowest of the lowest. Like she was like, she needs oxygen, she needs this, she needs that. Time of like later on, after I had my daughter, I had to be rushed in for blood transfusion because I literally was in like stroke territory, heart attack, stroke. My hemoglobin was so low. But I just say that to say that God has continued to save my life, even until recently. But it's always been for a purpose and it's always been for a plan. So when people see me, they don't know my story. Everything that's happened up until now is I was fearful. Like I didn't want to have this story that I have. I didn't want to go through the things that I went through. And I'm like, Lord, like just keep me from this. But everything I've been afraid of happening to me has happened. But I'm still standing. I'm still strong. I still have my joy. And I have it because God placed it inside of me. Like I feel like God has given me this joy. God has given me this love for people. That's just an unconditional love. That's an unconditional kind of situation that I just love people and I see the best in people. Even when they don't see it in themselves. And I say that to say like I know God has me here. And anybody that I talk to, like when they tell me their story, I'm like, you're still standing for a reason, because if you didn't have a purpose, you wouldn't be here.
Right.
If you didn't have a purpose, you wouldn't be here. If God didn't have a plan for your life, you would not have air in your lungs to do food. So I just say that to say like anything in your life that you come across, anything, the attacks that you may have had against your life, and you live from them, it's to tell your story. It's to open up. It's to show that God is real. And I'm just like, Lord, like, what do you want me to say on this topic? Because like I said, everything until now, I'm like, Lord, I don't want to be violated, raped, boom. I don't want to be molested, boom. Lord, I don't want to be beat halfway to death. Like I literally, in February, 10 days after my 10 days right after my birthday, I was literally almost beaten to death. And I heard God say when I was on the floor, when I was literally being violated, I told God, why would you let me be in this position? He said, everything you've done until now, you put yourself in this position. But I'm gonna let you get up with your life. And when I tell you I was going in and out of consciousness, but God was right there with me. And I say that to say, like, you don't have to try to get vengeance. You don't have to be fearful of what's gonna happen, because whatever is gonna happen is gonna happen. But if you put your trust and your belief in God, you're gonna come through it better. And I feel like Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. And if you don't know that story, I'll give you a little bit of the story. It's a king that feels like he's the highest king in the land, and he wants everybody to bow to him. And Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, it's thousands of people. Now, when thousands of people are bowing, you can tell who's standing up. So they got them three and said, come on, y'all want to bow down? Like, y'all gonna go in this furnace. Even the people that threw them in the furnace burnt up. But the king like opened the furnace because they still moving. I still hear them moving. And they saw 4 people in the fire. It was the Holy Spirit and the three Hebrew boys. And when they pulled him out, he like, who is this God that you serve could do this? Who is this God that you serve? And it made the king bow down. And I feel like my life is that, because when I tell my story, I tell whatever, it makes people bow down like, who is the God that you serve? Like, what is the power that you have inside of you that can make you? I'm sitting here, I had a stroke on February 14th, I had a stroke, I had a seizure. My eye socket was broken. My left eye was unopenable. Is that a word? I don't know. Stitches on my left eye, bruises everywhere, left leg is still sprained. But I stand here and I don't even have the smell of smoke on me.
Right.
Like Meshach, Shadrach, and it's not until myself. I don't take the glory to myself.
Right.
Because like I say, many a times I'm disobedient. God gives me, I hear spirit. And it says, don't do this, don't go there. And I told God before I went where I went, I told God, like, I don't want to hear about you telling me not going on this trip, because I'm going on this trip. I don't want to hear your answer if I should go on this trip or not. And so when I was on that floor, I remembered all of that.
Wow.
But what I say is, like, when I think about how God has been graceful with my life, how he's let me escape different, like I was saying, when I was going through the situation of blood transfusion, I was driving to work, y'all. I was driving to work and I would fall asleep. And I thought I was falling asleep, but I was losing consciousness. And the day that I went to the hospital, I was going down the stairs and I don't remember nothing. And I remember getting into my car and driving home. My sister taking me to the hospital. And they were like, oh, those moments where you was unconscious. So it's been many different times where I could have lost my life, but God said, not yet, baby girl.
Yeah.
And he continues to give me chances to get it together. So I'm like, Lord, for real, you done saved me this last time. Help me to be obedient.
Right.
But I say that for anybody, whatever you're going through, whatever it is that you have stayed through. We don't know your story. We don't know how you are because you don't look like what you've been through.
Yeah.
So one thing is always to be kind to people, because you never know what story or situation they're in. 2 is to always bless God for life, because you don't know what your next thing is.
Yeah.
When I turned 34 this year, you couldn't tell me that I would have a stroke. You couldn't tell me that I would have a seizure and that I would not be able to drive. You know what I'm saying? Like different things that happen, but it all comes back to the God we serve and how he protects us even from ourselves.
Yes.
Because we be like, no, I want this. This is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. And I want you to make it fit in my life. And I think I said that on the episode too. I was like, when I be in relationships, I be like, you know what? I'm going to make it fit. The puzzle don't fit, but I'm going to make it fit. That relationship did not fit. What the heck was I doing? But now after I got knocked upside my head, now I'm like, okay, that was not a good idea. But, we get in situations and we put ourselves in situations and then we ask God to free us of those situations. But just be thankful for the grace that he gives. That you're able to stand, that you're able to go forward. And don't let nothing knock you down. I mean nothing. I mean nothing. It's nothing that can happen to your body that your spirit can't free you from. There's nothing that can happen to your body that your spirit can't free you from. Because what he tried to do was beat the joy out. He tried to beat the joy out. But I'm still here and I'm still smiling. Even with a broken eye, baby. But God did that, not me. And the miraculous healing when I go to the doctors and they just look at me and they like, because they thought I wasn't going to have no usage of my left eye. They thought I was going to have permanent brain damage. And I got to go to a speech therapist now because I'm sitting here talking about the dirty clothes, but I mean the trash can. Just little stuff like that that you don't think that you have to worry about. But when you put yourself in a dark place or allow yourself to be around dark people, dark shit gonna bite you.
Yeah.
But God said, you ain't gonna kill her though. So you ain't gonna kill her. So still standing like, when I heard this topic, I was like, all right, Bridget, all right. I got this one because I'm still standing, I'm still strong, and I don't say it cockily. Like, you know how people like, God don't play about me. I'm not cocky with it at all, but I just know he don't play about me. And that he loves me and that he made me with a purpose. And it's for me to share it, but it's not just me. Like, God made each one of us with a purpose. There's situations that you might think your stuff is small, like, oh, you know, I just, you know, I made it through, you know, college and I didn't have no money. That's a testimony. No, I made it, you know, I made it to work and I didn't really have no gas. That's a testimony. It don't have to be, you know, you don't have to have no like, oh, I was raped and I was bruised and battered. It's not that. It's whatever your testimony is. Share your truth with it.
Right.
Because you're still standing and there's somebody that's struggling right now like, man, I don't have the money.
Yeah.
And you could be a blessing to that person.
Because I think that's a part of my testimony, and that's from 2021. Like I literally from January 2021 to November 2021, I literally felt every single day like I was underwater. It was a feeling of I was drowning in my and when she said like it's spirit, like it's spirit first before it is flesh. Before it hits you in the flesh, it's going to be spirit. And my battle was spirit. Every day I'm tussling, and I'm like, God, like, why did you have me here? Like, I don't want to be here, like literally and physically. I was like, God, I don't want to be here. Like tomorrow, don't wake me up. Like, and I can't tell you why. That's the thing. And sometimes when you go through stuff, you don't know the why until you come out.
Facts. You just fights.
Right. And in November, I literally caught my breath. I was able to exhale and inhale. I was able to inhale and exhale. I was able to breathe again. Like, but I still am like, okay, but God, why? And I'm like, maybe it's because I'm about to finish my other book. Maybe it's because like my marriage is about to be better. Maybe it's because like I'm doing whatever I need to do for my children. I don't know why, but I do know I couldn't breathe. But today I'm still here. Today, and it's crazy. Like sometimes you gotta still push through. Right. Despite you feel like you drowning. And it's the crazy thing is it was some people that knew what was going on, but it's a lot of people that I'm still conducting connection group with 20 people and they don't know that I feel like I'm drowning. Because God's grace is still sufficient.
Yes. Say that again.
God's grace is still sufficient no matter what you're going through. And the thing is, you don't have to know why. Right. You don't have Kels don't know why all of the way she had to go through what she been through. But when God revealed, it makes sense. Maybe it was just for me to share my testimony on sharing your truth and somebody been through the same thing, and now I can leave the relationship that somebody beat me down in. We don't know, but what you gotta know is God is using you for a purpose even in that. Yes. And that is what I'm like, God, I know you're not doing this on purpose without a purpose. Because you do everything that you do on purpose with a purpose. And so like me not being able to breathe, I'm like, God, like, bro, first get me out of this and hurry up. And it took 11 months. Some people is in a stuff for 5 years, 10 years. And it's like, God, I thank you that you took me out in 11 months. You know what I'm saying? I can breathe again now. I can do what you called me to do. But at the same time, like, just know that it has a purpose. Whatever you're going through, and you're gonna get up out of it. I felt like the same way in the fire. Except it was water, bro. Like, it was water. And I was drowning. Like, I'm like, it's like I can't even swim. My head kept going, like, it was so crazy. And I'm just like, God, thank you for allowing me to keep standing. Despite, cause bro, it was some days I was having suicidal thoughts like, bro, they ain't gonna miss me. They ain't gonna miss me. And I'm gonna tell you one example. One example of my youngest son. I was feeling like I was having suicidal thoughts. I would never, me personally, I would never like commit suicide, right? But at this moment, it was so thick on me. And my youngest son, he came and he sat and he like put his head on my shoulder. And at that very moment, I was able to release. Like, it was like something that like just fell off me. And God, after he left, he got up and left. God said, I used him to show you I still need you. And I was just like, okay. Because even in that time, I could still hear God. Even in them 11 months, it wasn't like I wasn't hearing God. But the spirit thing is, you still gotta fight. You gotta fight to still stand. You gotta fight even when you get knocked down to get back up again. So, man, it's crazy how you gotta realize how much of a purpose you still have, despite you being knocked down, despite you going through the fire, despite you feeling like you drowning. It's still a purpose in it. So I thank God for it. Like, for real.
It's a quote that I had shared last year, and I went and saw it again. And it said, the attacks is the fact, or it's the reminder that even the enemy believes in you.
Yes.
And when we go through things, it's for us to grow through things.
Yeah.
But sometimes it be so much of a big thing or a magnitude or something like that you be like, man, like, why me?
Right.
Why me? Like, why me? But why not you? Because somebody else had to go through it, so you would rather throw it on somebody else than take it. And I know I'm one of those individuals where I'll be like, I wish I could take it for you. Yeah. So I was like, I'll take that. I would have took that for anybody. Mm-hmm. Like, cause I don't want to see nobody go through that. You feel me? Right. But I've had those moments, like Bridget said, those suicidal thoughts when I after I had my daughter, I had postpartum, and I shared this on season 1, where I just was like, God, don't wake me up. Bro, don't wake me up. I don't want to live no more. And it's been so many times where I just was like, God, I'm suicidal. Like, I don't want to live no more. But I know that I need you to take it, right? But when I tell y'all that I have the fire to live more than I ever had, and even on that floor, I was like, I'm going to live like I ain't never lived before. So it's a purpose in your pain. It's a purpose in those attacks. Sometimes you need something just to shake you up. But God knows, I forgot the scripture, He knows who can handle what. Yes. And He ain't going to put more on you than you can handle. Right. So sometimes get honored in what you go through, because it's going to bless somebody else, but it's also going to bless you.
I agree with that. Y'all feel like when it comes to walking in your, walking and sharing your truth, and like still standing on something that you kind of like been through at the time of going through it, it's like you don't ever really see, it's like a dark tunnel. You don't see no light, So it's like, when is this going to be over? You ask yourself, when is this going to be over? And when it's time for it to be over, I feel like a lot of times we don't give ourselves time to heal, right? Things will heal if we give it time to heal. Some people say time don't heal. Time heal if you allow it, right? If you allowing time to heal you through the things that you went through, that's when you will find out what it was for. Because you're allowing yourself to heal.
Say that again.
Which one?
Allow yourself to
you
heal.
gotta allow yourself to heal.
Right,
the things that you've been through, you will not get the answer if you don't allow yourself to heal. if you sit down and you try to understand and try to heal from it, know that you're going to heal from it and take the steps to heal. Because a lot of times we do not take the time to heal.
We numb ourselves.
We numb it, right? We're not healing from it. We just going on to whatever it's next. We happy to be out of it, but we're not giving ourselves time to heal from it. We happy we're not drowning. We're happy we're not in a dark tunnel to where we're not giving ourselves the proper time, the patience to heal from what we've been through. Right? And of course we're still standing from it. Of course we still here, we still have purpose. But did you heal from it? Spiritually, emotionally, physically? Did you heal?
Yes.
We got out of it, but did you heal from it?
Because it'll change it.
Because and then you will start recurring with these same problems. You start seeing yourself, because guess what? You never healed. You never allowed yourself the time to heal. And I think that's the biggest thing. We go through. We go through things.
Yeah.
We get out of it, but we don't heal. Right? And sometimes it might take 11 more months to heal from what you went through. Right?
Yeah.
Because you're out of it does not mean that you are done from what it was. Right? So I feel like when it comes to still standing, yes, we here, we smiling, you glad to be out of the feeling, the funk that you were in, not knowing why, but you gotta heal from it. And if we do not heal from it, we will continue to kind of pretty much, I'm a firm believer in, we're gonna always go through something.
Right.
It's gonna always be something that we go through.
Yeah.
It's just us preparing ourselves to be put through stuff. As powerful as we are, we always go through something.
Right. Yes.
How we speak and we on TV and we here and we're sharing, we gonna be put through something every second, every week. They on us.
Right.
They on us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand how to maneuver through life and how to get through things a little better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And healing.
I think in that time where you are healing, during that time, God do go ahead and show you some things, whether it's something that you need to change about yourself, about how you moving, who you with. It's so many things that in that healing process will be revealed to you. And like you were saying earlier, Mika, in a different episode, about taking people's opinion, right? Through that, if you have good people around you and you're allowing them to speak into your life, taking their opinion into consideration is part of the correction God is granting you, right? And of course, even the healing part is going to hurt sometimes, but you have maybe all the time. You're right.
Healing don't feel good.
No, it don't.
Healing don't feel good.
At all.
I don't know why people
Physical,
think
emotional, spiritual, none of
it
it.
is not supposed to feel good, right? It might not even look good, but the healing process is needed throughout life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And getting uncomfortable conversations or getting said something you really just don't want to hear. But at the end of the day, those are things that will heal you to be a better you.
Right.
Those are things that will heal you to be a greater you.
Yes.
For you not to go back and the minute you see a character flaw that you once seen before, if you healed, you go, oh,
That ain't it.
that ain't me. He give me that same type of feeling that old boy gave me.
Right, and that's part of the learning.
That's learning.
Yeah.
That's learning
So that-
on top of healing. And if you're not healing, you're not learning.
Right.
If you're not learning, you're not healing. And a lot of times we go through so many things and we understand, and I'm a firm believer in still standing, because we still here, we got purpose. But we have to still stand and heal. We gotta still stand and learn. We gotta still stand and be a part and place yourself in uncomfortable situations, or not uncomfortable situations, but uncomfortable places. Around people that you might not feel comfortable around. Why? Because you ain't grown to where you can feel comfortable. You gotta place yourself in, you gotta get uncomfortable. To heal, you gotta get uncomfortable to still stand.
I'm reminded of in the book of Ephesians where it talks about the armor, right? Like, and it reminds us that every day we're in battle. Like, there is battle going on spiritually every day. And it gives me a visual to remember that I can think that nothing's happening, but the enemy is sitting on the outskirts looking to see when I'm going to slip or when there's an open door, there's a crack. So being prepared is like getting ready. So be ready so you don't have to get ready, you know, because those spiritual attacks are so real. And I like what Kel says, it's not always real huge. And so those small ones you dismiss and you're like, it's whatever. But the enemy knows what God is about to do. So he's attacking you way before it starts happening, because guess what? He don't want you to get to that finish line or to that destination. So I'm always reminded that there's a spiritual battle going on in the spiritual realm constantly. That's why the scripture says the enemy, he seeks to see what he can devour. He is constantly looking at you saying, can I dig in her finances? Can I go through her child? Can I go through her family member? Can I make sure that like relationships are shaky so that she can have her attention over there and she's no longer focused on that? Whatever he can do to distract you, it starts in the spiritual realm. So when you stay prayed up and you're saying, God, because for me, there's moments of just feeling like, God, it's just so much going on. Like, just give me a moment to pause. And because I like to keep going, I'm telling y'all right now, God has me in a season of like sitting still. And I have to be so like, my ear has to be to God, because if not, my natural like get up and go and doing will cause me to have to, like Nika said, repeat the same thing. But if you want God to elevate you, or you want to really come out of this thing, you have to be willing to listen. So like God is like, he gives the enemy permission to be like, look, she's not listening, or this is not happening the way that it's supposed to happen. I'm gonna have to have her sit down. So for me, like I'm in a place where like God is like, sit down, because my health is being like attacked. So having to go get MRIs and stuff like that, and I'm like, God, I know you got a purpose for me, so why this is happening to me? You know what I'm saying? Because God, you got a purpose for me, but these attacks are happening. It's making it harder for me to move forward, and I'm trying to move forward, Lord. Like, those are my thoughts, you know? But God does what he does for a reason. So I had to take some steps back, and I'm like, all right, Lord, you're telling me to sit down. But in my going through, I know I'm going to be in a position of still standing, but I got to go through this first. And we got to know that you got to go through some things to get to that place. And sometimes it can look foggy, because you like, God, it don't add up. But God is like, it don't have to make sense to your intellect. Like, that's not how God communicates to us. If it makes sense right here for you, you got to check and see if it's you. God speaks through your spirit. So God is like, spiritually, I need you to sit down, be still, and know that I'm God. So I'm just, for me personally, I'm thanking God for every little thing. Thinking of what Kel said, like the attacks of just like car accidents or just running from gunshots, just anything. Like, God, it wasn't me, Lord. You covered me. Lord, you know what I'm saying? That's a real thing. You see, right? It's real. Because it goes back to just being at a place that like, you know, when you're young and stuff, you just going. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And you not
but now you already look back and you're like, God, I was.
Until okay, now your kid is of age. Now you're like, I remember being over there and gunshots. I remember we was at a party and my homegirl got shot in the butt. But we was all together. And I'm like, God, you protected me from so much.
This is what I want to ask. This is what I want to ask. When it comes down to, you know, understanding your life and still standing, sometimes I'll ask myself, did I put myself in? Right? And I feel like that's not a good question. I feel like that's not a question that's asked enough to ourselves, right? Because I feel like we don't want to question ourselves. We don't ever want to put ourselves to the test of ourselves. And I feel like that's how you would elevate more as a person when you asking yourself these tough questions. When you asking yourself these questions. So my question is, do you ask yourself what did I do to get here? What could I have done to not be where I'm at right now?
Right. Because
Right?
we create our own.
'Cause we-
you said this in the episode before.
We be creating our own
Our own
situations and our own problems. Right?
Absolutely.
So I always try to ask myself, you know, what is it that I'm doing? What could I have done differently?
Yeah.
What could I have done to make this situation go a little bit better? And as I'm getting older, y'all, I'm so in tune spiritually.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so like, my energy is like, I feel like energy is like, if I come with good energy, good things is gonna come. Right? My car get broken in, window get busted out, stuff get stolen, right? Location I always go to, I always park on the street, but I'm always driving. I let my cousins drive my car this particular time. They energy not mine. I have to understand. I have to understand
Accountability.
I didn't ask for no money to get my window fixed. Why? Because it was on me. Let me tell you why. Because if it was me driving my car that night, I know that my car, this how much power is spiritual that I'm in tune with myself. I know my car wouldn't have been touched. Because of the energy that I progress, that's just how I feel. I just feel like, oh, can't nobody drive my car no more. And it's that simple. I feel like I place myself getting my window busted by allowing them to drive my car and park it where they park it. So I'm always asking myself, what is it that I'm doing?
You have to. You have to.
You know, how can I make this situation better? How did I get into this? You know, how did I get here? What was that one thought that placed me here? Because sometimes it's just one thought that really put us underwater. It's one thought that went into our head that made it go underwater.
I kind of want to piggyback on what Mika was saying, as well as Kels, when Kels brought up the why me situation or the why me question, and how Mika said that sometimes you allow for yourself to get put in a position. I felt like, and this, I'm still learning this for today, but as of now, I want to say that I'm still going to stand because I feel like I have a monitoring spirit over me that is waiting for me to fall. Unfortunately, it's my mother. And it's been a constant spiritual battle with her for as long as I can remember, from a kid. My mom was a great mom. She took care of me. She provided for me. She made sure I had and everything like that, but there was never an emotional connect between us. God put other people in my life that picked up the slack from that. But even as an adult now, I'm learning my mom's character. And as a kid, I always would ask myself, why me? Why me? Why do I have to go through this? Why do I have to cry myself to sleep at night? Why do I have to cry in a corner? And I'm trying to protect myself from my mother. And now I'm trying to protect my kids from my mother. I'm learning that my mom is a narcissist. I do not believe that our relationship will ever develop or ever get better until she seeks help. Until she sees that she has an issue or she has a problem, and it's from trauma from her childhood. In the other episode when we talked about learning and relearning and unlearning things, that is the season that I am in now, trying to understand why I'm going through what I'm going through, but also not trying to put it on my kids, but protect my kids, not only from my mom, but what could have spilled over into me that could possibly get into my kids. So I'm gonna tell that monitoring spirit right now, like, you can wait for my downfall, but I can promise you it's not gonna come, because I'm still standing, because I have God on my side. I have God leading me, and I have come to the acceptance that the season that God has me in right now is that He has come to turn mother against daughter and father against son, and I am okay with that. And that's just where I stand.
That's good. That is good, Jane.
Wow,
Baby,
really.
the mothers, that's a hard one.
It is.
And a lot of people won't understand it. I try not to touch her no more because I'm trying to heal. So when I'm trying to heal, I pick and choose when to touch on and when not, you know. But dealing with a mother of like abuse, whether it's physical, emotional, things like that, parents is hard, you know. So to still stand after you feel like the person who birthed you is against you, that right there, no joke.
It's no joke. But the key is to continue to stay strong through it all. And I know those times can be hard when you're going through whatever you're going through and you're so ready for that thing to be over. The most important thing is, I feel like it's been said so many times, but just to keep going and believe that God does have a purpose for you, and that's the reason to keep fighting. And then just allow him to do whatever it is that he needs to do while you're in that situation, so that you can grow from it, so that you can learn from it, so that you yourself could be a better mother to your kids, so that you yourself could be a better wife, or whatever the case may be. You know, we go through certain things to learn and grow from those things, so that we can be a better person and have a better future and elevate. And I just think it's important to continue to be patient with yourself, and then also be forgiving to yourself, you know, because when we go through certain things, it is quick for us to be in that self-pity or continue to beat our own selves up. And we just have to get to a place where you allow those feelings and allow those things to happen, and then just trust God for the rest of it. Because I've been in situations where I'm just like, okay, God, I'm ready for this to be over, but I had to learn. Now I'm saying, God, I feel this way. I'm hurt because of this. I can't believe this happened. But as long as you holding me, as long as your arms is around me, I'm going to continue to stay in it, because I know you have a purpose for me. Now, do I still cry myself to sleep at night when I'm in that? Yes. But the point is, I make it through another day. And once God gets you, let me actually go back. Because Bridget, you was talking about being underwater, right? And Mika, you was talking about just being in a dark place. I was talking to my pastor about the dark place that I was in, and she was like, but do you still see God, or do you still have trust in God? And I was just like, yeah. And she was like, okay, well, there's still light where you are. You know, even if you're at the bottom of that tunnel and it's dark, but if you could look up and see a little bit of light, then that's enough fight to keep going. And understand that light is gonna get bigger, and it's gonna pull you out of that situation. So that's just what you have to hold on to. And allow yourself to feel those things. Allow yourself to go through that pain. Allow yourself to just feel that. I remember I was going through a situation with a relationship, and I was mad at myself because I was still trying to hold on to it after I've seen what it's done to me. After I seen it was dragging me down. After I seen it was what it was taking from me. I was so mad at myself because I was still missing that person, or I still wanted this. And I remember you, Trayana, saying, like, be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to feel that and go through that. Like, you don't have to rush through that. And so many times we do want to rush out of that situation and skip the healing process because we just want it to be over with. And I had to learn how to rest in my mess. For a second,
Right there.
I had to learn how to rest in my mess. Okay, so that I could heal when the time comes, so that I could just grow and come out of it. So,
and one thing you just said when you said,
seeing the light.
No, yes, it was seeing the light, but that just is an indication that the battle is still going on. And if the battle is still going on, that means there's no winner or loser right now. Nobody has won, so it's not over. And that's what we have to realize. Like, if I'm still going through it, that means I can still win. Even if I'm feeling like I'm losing right now. You get what I'm saying? And I have to tell myself that the whole entire 2021. Because I feel like I'm losing. God, I feel like I'm failing. God, I feel like I'm unworthy of this. And I don't know why. Still. But he just showed me, like, you're not losing. Because you on my team. And if you on my team, you gonna
The victory is yours.
Exactly. And I had to keep that in the back of my mind every single day, because every single day it's a struggle. I don't care what nobody act like, what nobody make it seem like, it be a struggle every day. Especially when you call for a higher purpose than yourself. Like, and you're called for a higher purpose than yourself. So the thing is, I'm called for something bigger than me. That means that God has given me so many, and when Trey said, like, God knew, like, he allowed the devil to do this to you. And we don't really realize that. You know what I'm saying? And then on the other end, it's like, well, you put yourself in it sometimes. So stop blaming the devil, stop blaming God, and start taking accountability for yourself. And I just have to think that when Trey said that, I'm like, maybe I did put myself in the water, Lord, but maybe I did. But I'm trying to figure out how. What did I do? What did I do?
Sometimes it be unconscious things.
Yes.
It be unconscious things that
Most of
you
the time
are
it
doing.
is.
I promise you, it's the unconsciousness of it. It is unconscious, right? It's things that people do every day unconsciously. We do things unconsciously. So I might say the B word 5 times, and I'll be like, I didn't say the B word. And you'll be like, yes, you did. It's unconscious, right? So as I'm getting older, I tell people, I'll be like, well, maybe it's an unconscious thing that you don't know that you're doing. But now that I'm bringing it to your attention, now it will be conscious. Right?
Yeah.
So if I tell you, Bridget, I don't like you hitting my leg like this, you conscious of it.
Right.
You may have been unconscious of you hitting my leg.
Right.
But now I'm saying, Bridget, you keep hitting my leg. I don't like the way you're hitting my leg.
Right.
And you continue to hit my leg. That's your conscious of it. A lot of times we're human.
Right.
We gotta understand that. We gonna have emotions.
Yes.
We're women. We have menstrual cycles. We might be crying this day, you get what I'm saying? And some things
Right.
is unconscious.
We taking a spiritual. I'm sorry. You touched me. No, but it's a class at our church right now, Spiritual Man. And this morning I was listening to it. My mom was like, I just don't get that part. But it was a part of it was a section about how your flesh, like we're flesh, we're human and we're flesh, right? So you're constantly having to go against your subconscious mind and those just human natures that we have, that you have to tap into the spiritual like so often, like moment by moment by moment. Lord, I need you. Our pastor said, just say these 3 words: Jesus, help me. Because sometimes, Lord, I want to take it to a 10, but I hear I gotta be calm. Like I gotta be still and I gotta be focused in. But that is so real. Like, and that's when I said, but let yourself go through that for a minute. Get it out. I teach that in my organization, like, get out your frustration right now. Cause it has to go somewhere. And if you keep it inside, that's when you get people that's like, oh, she about to tick. Like something about to blow, she about to blow her cap off. And sometimes you feel like that when you keep it inside, but you gotta journal. Mika said something about whatever you need to do. Journal, listen to a song, run in place, cry if you have to. Have a temper.
This is the thing with people having children. And I think, with us having children, we have this stigma of doing things just so right on time. We have kids and it's this and it's like, sometimes you have to let go. Sometimes you have to understand that you're not even mentally ready and capable to do it, right? We have to be full within ourselves for us to feed into our children. If we're not mentally okay, if we're not physically okay, emotionally okay, and spiritually okay, we have to be okay with not being able to give. You can't pour out of an empty cup.
You can't.
Right? Even with your children. And we want to be the mom that's at every game, and I probably can't make it. And I'm mentally fit, like I can't do it, right? It was a time where I was like, I can't. I gotta give it over to the daddy. I gotta let the daddy do this full time right now because I cannot mentally do it. And we have to learn to be okay with releasing certain burdens that my mama did, my granny did, my mom. I'm not them. I don't have the mental capacity for that right now. And be okay and be patient with learning how you are able to move as a parent and an adult. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes we run ourselves
Into the ground.
into the
Into the
ground,
ground.
especially when it comes to our children, right? Especially not trying to be the mother that we had. Give them the things that, and it's like we probably overcompensate.
Right, and cripple them in
And
another
curriculum
way.
in another one, so it's a lot of things that we have to be easy on ourselves as Black women, period.
Yeah.
Just a Black woman, not a Black mother, just a Black woman. They think we just supposed to be like this strong, never go through nothing, and you better do it. That's what mother's supposed to do, and it's like, really? That's why y'all got high blood pressure. That's why that's why health is bad, because you are picking up things that you really mentally,
Picking up.
emotionally
And
cannot
not
pick
supposed
up.
to carry.
So we have to release things. We have to be okay with releasing things. That's what
And I think
Yes.
that by us doing that, that's what's gonna make us still stand in the end.
Yes. We're gonna stand longer.
Yeah, longer.
We're gonna have longer, longevity with our children, and we're gonna be able to
Yeah.
give them things that we wasn't. Like for me, I don't want my kids to ever live with a woman. That is a thing for me. I do
So
not
like,
ever.
start a family?
Don't go live with a woman. A woman should always live with you. Right? That's how I raise my boys. You don't ever move in with a woman. A woman should be
Because
moving
it's a lot
in
of
with
that.
you. Right? What I want to do is prepare my kids to own homes. You're going to own a house.
Right.
So that you would never, I don't want my kids getting put out every Friday.
Oh, come
I
on.
don't want that. Like, no, but those things that stuff happens. It happens. I see it often. And I don't want my kids to be a product of that environment. So I want to give them something that me or their father didn't have. I want to give you a house. I want you to always have shelter. I want you to always be able to go home. Right? So those are things that I'm worried about. I might can't make it to the basketball game every day. You know what I'm saying? But I'm worried about other things, So I think that's what it is. We put a lot of things on ourselves because of what society wants us to be like.
Well, I'm glad that we all, we might know about some of our battles, but I'm glad that we all are sharing what we're going through, but to see that we still here.
Right.
We're still here.
So it's still standing. I would say for all of us to sit in your power, to know, be still and know that God is, God will, and God can. As long as you see that light, and if you don't see that light, you be that light. And go on within yourself and know that God is with me, God is going to keep me, and God is going to move me forward. Another thing that we touched on that's important is accountability. Because if you sit with snakes long enough, you're going to get big. Lastly, to heal so you can still stand. And so you can grow through what you go through. Because so often in our culture, it's okay to numb what we went through. I'd rather be faded. I'd rather just be, distracted from what I'm going through. But going through what I'm going through, I got to go through it sober. Because I got to grow. I got to elevate. I got to move. And it's painful as hell. But I know that the me on the other side of this is way better, unshackled. It's like that phoenix that just rose from the ashes. So whatever you're going through, grow through it. Trust yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Trust your spirit and your intuition with what you're going through. And God gonna pull you through every time. And this is
Share your truth.